team, it's Rachel here, and today, welcome back to another health and gel-being session. Today we've got Tracy McCurry, one of our wonderful trainers in the GSAC and Caulfield Rec Health Clubs. How are you, Trace?
I'm really well, Rach. Thanks. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. So team, today we're diving into the teenagers topic again. Trace has 3 teenagers at home. Managing through this time definitely has its challenges. Today's focus is about how we communicate and how we talk effectively with our family, with our children, with our teenagers. So Trace, where do we start with this one?
Okay, well, the most important thing is for me is that I've sort of learned through this period is just making sure that your children, your teens know that you're available to listen.
Yep.
And because a lot of us are working from home and managing other things, and I'm looking after an elderly parent and I've got things that I have on, I communicate with them and let them know. Most days I'll say, this is what I've got on today and this is the time that I've got time to listen. How does that fit in with you? Because they're schooling and things like that. Yep. So it's not like they're walking in while I'm working or I'm walking in on them when they're in the middle of the class. So actually scheduling that time and saying, this is when I'm available to listen. And I always tell them, look, you are the most important thing and I will make time for you, but we need to make sure that we both connect when we've both got the time to really listen to one another.
And managing it, I think taking a proactive approach there is really, really important.
Yeah.
Also that active listening, so actually listening to what the problem is or what they
absolutely
about is really key. So obviously it's a challenging time. So in terms of working through that with them, what have you found to work with you in that space?
So it's a different time for all of us. So when they say, oh, this is really awful, and then say, well, I try not to say, which I was saying, like, be grateful for everything you have, rah, rah, rah. I think it's really important to acknowledge that it's very difficult. It is a very difficult time, but I try to reassure them that this will not go on forever and that we'll get through it, but really acknowledge their feelings and saying, yeah, you're right. This is a really hard time. And I also reassure them that, especially for teenagers, it's a very difficult time for them because this is the time when they would be out and they would be with their friends, not spending so much time with their families. So they're a very unique sector of the community.
Yeah.
So just making sure that you listen, acknowledge, and then just reassure.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously when we speak to teenagers, we talk about the impact of social media. There is a lot of information out there at the moment.
Absolutely.
A lot of that, I know I've had to do it as well, control the amount of time that we spend on social media. There's a lot of opinions out there at the moment. So in terms of reliable information, I mean, how do you sort of communicate that, or where do you sort of suggest that the girls sort of go to?
So I've sort of given the girls some websites and things that, so they're basically government websites, health websites, but also through their school, they've been told they get given information that's very clear I also acknowledge that they are seeing some things with very different views on the way things should be handled. I mean, the whole society, someone's got this idea, someone's got that idea. But also when we're sitting down together and we've got that time together discussing it, saying, well, what do you think of this view? Why do you think of that view? Where did you get that information? And then discussing whether or not we think that information is correct. But also it's been a chance for us to sort of discuss where to get correct information. And so they've sort of learned, oh, I'm not going to get it from that source, but I will get it from that source. So mainly using proper government and health sort of websites.
Yes. Not TikTok or Twitter.
Not TikTok or Twitter. And they might be funny and they'll go, oh, have a look at what this guy says, but they actually know that that's not legitimate. So they've been able to understand where they get their legitimate news from and where they don't. And also we've decided that we check the numbers in the morning and then we maybe watch the news at night. Don't check it all day because it can send you crazy.
Absolutely. So the importance of following the rules. So obviously in line with, we've got some really strict restrictions which we need to abide by. So in terms of within your family and sort of laying down the rules, what does that look like?
Yes. Oh, so we've discussed it because we've on both sides of our family, my mum and Alex's mum are both elderly and they both have certain issues going on. So we've sort of, I think when you personalise it, because there's not as many cases and we might not know anyone who's got a case, but we say we do have vulnerable people that we are connected with, and then I would say, well, how would you feel if that happened to Nana or Nunna? So really sort of bringing it to that personal level, but also just about the community around us, saying that this is what it's like when you live in a community. We need to look after one another, and there's small sacrifices that we have to make in order to keep our community safe. And if we make those sacrifices, then the quicker we'll get back to living a more normal life. But I think it's actually very good for them to spend some time reflecting and thinking about other people, not just themselves.
Absolutely. So, I mean, we're all very sort of optimistic, and, you know, it's that hope that sort of gets us through, and, you know, for that world that we can't wait to see. We've been living it for sort of 18 months. So, you know, do you talk to the girls about sort of hope and what to look
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we talk about, we don't know, we're not sure how long it will be, but we say if we all do follow the rules and we do support each other and our community, we will be able to have the life that we had before, and there will be travel, there will be friends, there will be parties, but by following the rules, you're contributing to us getting there as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So I think making them feel that they actually do have some control over it, not just, oh, we're waiting for everybody else, but by you following the rules, doing the right thing, there will be fun times ahead. And also we sometimes talk about, for hope, we talk about the holidays and we take it in turns. Okay, where would you like to go? And when are we going to go next? And who would you like to see? And those sorts of things. And so planning things that we'll be able to do in the future sort of is a fun thing to do with them, and creates that hope that it will end.
That it will, definitely. And then, you know, reassuring them, I mean, like any child, or, you know, sort of any, you know, daughter or son, you know, they want to remember that, you know, they are important to you. So do you go about that in a certain way with your girls?
I've always said it to them, but I think that if a child, whether that be a small child or even a teenager, knows that they are your priority and they're the most important thing in your life, or that your family is the most important thing of your life, I believe that they feel that they can get through anything.
Definitely.
So I just think, you know, you don't have to say it every day, but sometimes it's just like, yes, you are the most important thing to me. And for them to know, really, if for a child to know in their heart that you will always be there for them and that you always put them first, is such a great security. And if you can do that as a parent, I think that's your main job. That's what I think your main job is. So if a child feels like they've got someone there who thinks they are the most important thing in the world, what more could you want?
Absolutely. And you give them that blanket of safety, that reassurance.
Absolutely.
I think they are very, very lucky to have you as a mum, Trace. So
that's really kind. Thank you.
No, you're an exceptional role model, and, you know, the team at Glenora Leisure see it every day, but, you know, for our members, you see it in Trace's classes too. She's the one dancing around on the gym floor in the small group training. She does like dancing. We did it on, you know, by Zoom last year. But also,
I won't do that for my children.
Yeah, you won't do the dancing. That's for my endorphins. No, team, look, if you've got any questions for Trace about sort of, you know, managing children, managing teenagers, or anything with regards to your programming, please don't hesitate to comment below, ask questions, get connected, and stay involved with us. We're here for you. And if there's anything else that we can do, please don't hesitate to shout out. Otherwise, Trace, thank you so much for your time today. And we look forward to seeing you in another health and wellbeing session very, very soon.
Thanks, Rach. Lovely to be here.
Bye.